Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome back. I'm Jeannie and we've been asking for so many years and iGel has finally delivered. They recently released a line of Pro X gels. This goes with their new Pro X gel tips and there is a HEMA-free option in these gels. I've been waiting for so long for iGel to come out with some HEMA-free products. So I have both the HEMA-free and the regular gels right here. So we're going to test them out in today's video. These were sent to me as PR, as an ambassador for iGel Beauty, but as always, you'll get my honest opinion. So I want to do first impressions, test them out with you, and share what I like, dislike about these products so that you can be more informed if it's something you're interested in purchasing. I'm not going to go in depth into the Pro X tips because I've done that in a previous video. I'll leave that linked up above in the cards if you want to check it out. But I do want to go a little bit more in depth into these new liquids. So this first bottle, this is the pH bond. So this is your air dry primer. So this is the regular formula. This is not the HEMA-free formula. This is like your double-sided tape. So if you have issues with lifting, if you have oily nail beds, it's really good to have a primer. So you put that on, you let it dry for about 60 seconds. You can also apply a second layer if needed. So there's that. And then the other bottle, this is your gel extender. So this is the glue which you apply your tips to. This is the regular formula. So these two green bottles, these are your regular formula, but there's also the HEMA-free gels, which I am super excited about. And I really hope this is just the beginning and they'll come out with a whole line of HEMA-free gel polishes. So fingers crossed. This blue bottle is the True Bond. This is a HEMA and acid-free primer. So once again, this is like your double-sided tape. It's going to help with gel adhesion if you have issues with lifting. This is an air dry formula. It's the same as the pH Bond, except it's HEMA-free. So you would apply a thin layer of this to your natural nails, let that air dry for about 60 seconds, and then you could go in with a second layer, or you could go in with your gel tip application. So this purple bottle, this is the Pro X Gel Extender. This is the HEMA-free formula. Looking at the consistency, this is nice and thick, which I love. It's thicker than a builder gel. It's thicker than the Pro Base that's currently available. So I'm really excited to give that a try. And then the last bottle I think I'm most excited about. This is a HEMA-free formula of their No Cleanse Gel Top Coat. iGel's No Cleanse Gel Top Coat is one of my favorites. The shine is phenomenal, but to finally have a HEMA-free formula gets me so excited. But of course, as I begin to use these products, I'll give you my honest opinions on how I feel about them. I'm going to be changing things up today and applying the medium square Pro X tips. I've been rocking almonds for so long that I was kind of craving squares, but don't worry, they're not going to last long. I enjoy them for a little bit, but I always end up missing my almonds. So starting with the tips, I want to make sure that I'm checking the fit first. So I'm just going to go ahead and size them out. When I'm sizing out my tips, I want to make sure that they're fitting my nail from sidewall to sidewall. And as a reminder, these Pro X tips, I love that they have 0, and then they also have half sizes in, I believe it's the 6.5, 5.5, and 4.5. So like the most common sizes. They also have half sizes. So I really love the range of sizes that they now have in these Pro X tips. So I'm just making sure that they're fitting my nail. If one size is a little bit too small, like the 2 was a little bit too small for my thumb, and then the 1 was a little bit too large, I'm going to size up, go with the 1, and then I can just file down to customize it to fit my nail better. So I'm going to continue to size out my tips, and then once I have them sized out, we're going to go ahead and apply them using the new gel extender in the HEMA-free formula. Whenever I apply full cover tips, I like to start with a layer of gel base first on my natural nails and cure it. But in lieu of gel base for this one, I'm going to use the gel extender. It does the same thing, so you can either use gel base or gel extender. You just have to keep in mind that the gel extender is a thick formula, so you need to make sure that you're applying a thin, even layer, that it's not too thick. And then once you're done applying it to your natural nails, you're going to cure it for a full 60 seconds. The one other thing I'll say is I did not use the pH bonder in this mani because I am wearing peel base, so I didn't want to put the primer on top of the peel base. But if you are doing this on your natural nails, you would want to apply the primer first, let it air dry for 60 seconds, and then go in with your layer of gel base or the gel extender. For my tip application, I'm going to take the gel extender and apply that to the inside of the tip. Anywhere where it's going to touch my natural nail bed is where I want to apply that thin layer. And then I'm going to take the brush and scrape the excess gel at the cuticle area. And that pool of gel is going to fill the gap between the apex of the tip and my natural nail bed. And so I'm going to apply the tip at an angle starting at my cuticle area. And then I'm going to start pressing downwards towards my free edge. And I'm going to watch that gel flow down towards my free edge. And then once it hits my free edge, that's when I'm going to flash cure it. So I've got my Pro X flash cure lamp. It's a touch. So if you touch that little metal band, it's going to turn on, and I'm going to flash cure it for about 15 seconds just to freeze it in place. Now, I did have a little bit of overflow because these tips are square and my natural nails are almondish. So I'm just taking a little bit of isopropyl alcohol and a cleanup brush, and that little overflow underneath the tip, I'm just going to clean that up because it's not fully cured yet. So once again, I'm taking that gel extender and I'm applying it to the inside of the tip. Anywhere where it's touching my natural nail bed is where I want to apply that gel extender. The excess I'm scraping off at the cuticle area to pool at the cuticle area. And then to apply the tip, I'm applying it at an angle starting at the cuticle area. So I'm putting it up against my cuticle area. I'm just going to reposition. And then I'm going to start pressing downwards towards my free edge. And I'm going to watch that gel flow. And once it hits the end of my free edge, that's when I'm going to go ahead and flash cure it. Flash cure lamp comes in so handy when you're working with full coverage tips. It just makes it easier. You don't have to fully cure it. You just want to freeze it in place so you can continue on with the rest of your tips. As with working with any liquids for the first time, there is a learning curve, which is the same for this. I did have a little bit of spillage as I was applying my full coverage tips, but I was trying to learn like how much I needed. I wanted to make sure I had enough, and then I had a little bit too much, but it wasn't too bad. I think, though, I have to say I really do love these liquids. I prefer them much better than the Pro Gel base because it's nice and thick, and I always prefer to apply full coverage tips with thicker liquids just because once you learn like how much you need, it's less cleanup that you have to do. And then if you have flatter nail beds, it helps fill that gap between the apex of the full coverage tips and your natural nail bed a lot easier than a thinner liquid. And I do have naturally flat nail beds, so I'm really enjoying this, and I'm glad to see it in a Hema-free formula. So I would highly recommend it if you've been eyeing it, if you're looking for new liquids to apply your tips. I honestly don't have any complaints for as far as application wise. Obviously, I'm wearing peel base, so I can't really speak to longevity, but I did enjoy using this to apply my full coverage tips. My thumb is my longest nail bed, so I always try to make sure that I apply extra gel just because I want to make sure that it's going to flow from my cuticle area to my free edge, because usually for me, either I don't have enough gel and it doesn't reach my free edge and then I have to redo it, or I get paranoid and I apply too much gel and then I have overflow. But regardless, my thumb is always my problem when I'm applying tips. And this isn't a problem with the gel. I think it's more of the Pro X tips in this medium square. But the fit didn't fit my thumb right, because when I applied the tip and had it flush against my free edge, then it came up at my cuticle area where there wasn't gel hitting. So I kind of had to hold it at my free edge and cuticle area to make sure that it was curing down to my natural nail. So I'm not sure what it is, but it didn't fit my thumb really well, but I made it work. But I did want to call that out and let you know in case you have thumbs like mine. But anyway, I went ahead and fully cured my tips for a full 60 seconds, and now I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup. So I'm just taking my e-file and I'm working around my cuticle area and sidewalls to remove any excess gel that may have seeped out. And then because I'm going to do a gel mani on top, I'm also going to buff the surface, remove the shine from the tips so that the gel sticks to the tips. I've got some really fun colors from the Rosé collection that we're going to use for today's mani. So here are the swatches. Some are going to be base colors, some I'm going to use for nail art. And the great thing about the Rosé collection is they have great opacity. So they'll be really good to use with nail art as well. We're going to do a Thanksgiving themed set for this mani, but these are also really great fall colors and I'm just in love with the palette. So I'm going to be starting with R03. This is rice wine. This is going to be a base color for my thumb and ring finger. And you can see here just how opaque it is in one layer. I am going to end up doing 2 total layers of my base colors, but I think you could totally get away with 1 layer. And even with these medium tips with longer nails, I still feel like I had full opacity with that 1 layer. I just wanted a little bit of thickness, so that's why I decided to do 2 total layers. One word of caution when you're working with really opaque gels is make sure that your layers are as thin as possible. If your layers are too thick, they may not cure all the way through, and you don't want to be working with uncured gel, as well as if it's too thick, if it doesn't cure all the way through, it could also cause wrinkling, which just is not a pretty look. So make sure that your layers are thin. Once I'm done with the first layer on my thumb, I flash cured it for about 10 to 15 seconds just to freeze that gel in place. And then I'm going to work on getting the first layer onto my ring finger. Once I'm done with my ring finger, then I can put my hand in my lamp and cure it for a full 60 seconds. But I like to do my thumb separately and flash cure it because I don't want it to sit sideways in the lamp if I'm laying my hand in there because the gel could run into my sidewall. So it's always safer to do your thumb separately. And if you get any gel on your skin, make sure you're cleaning that up before you cure. So I did get a little bit of gel on my sidewall, so I'm just taking a cleanup brush and some isopropyl alcohol, and I'm going to make sure to clean that up and wipe it all off before I cure my hand, because any gel on your skin can lead to sensitivity or allergies. So I cured my first layer for a full 60 seconds, and so now I'm going in with layer 2. Once I finished with my second layer, I flash cured it for about 10 to 15 seconds. And the reason why I only flash cured it is because now I'm moving on to my next color, which is R30 Mauve Flower. I'm sure no surprise to you, this is my absolute favorite. I love this color. But as I'm applying the color, once I finish my first layer, I'm going to fully cure it for a full 60 seconds. So as I'm fully curing that, my thumb and my ring finger will also get fully cured. So I'm just trying to save a little bit of time because I know that I'm going to be curing as I go. So as I'm applying the first layer, you can see this great opacity in one layer. I will do two, but I really only need one. The other thing I'll mention is I will be using this for a little bit of nail art. So I decided to go ahead and put some of it on my palette to use for later to save time because I can, once I'm done applying the polish to my nail, I can put away the bottle and I'll be done with it because I already have that little bit of gel on the palette. So I fully cured that for a full 60 seconds. Now I'm going in with layer two. I think this color would look good with so many different skin tones, and it's a really great cover color. I mean, at least to me, I think this is a really great neutral because, I'm not really typically a fan of like browns and tans, although I have been wearing them a lot more lately. But for me, like neutrals, I really love like pinks with purple undertones or mauve colors, which is why I love this one. Anyway, I flash cured my second layer because again, once I work with my next color, I'm curing as I go. So it's going to fully cure with my first layer of this next color. This one is R125, only one Empress, and it is such a beautiful gold glitter. I'd say it's not like a yellow gold. It's more of like a champagne gold, but regardless, it is just so beautiful. And I love that it's really packed with glitter, but it's not full opacity. So you can determine like if you want just like to use it as a topper or if you want to make it full opacity, you can build it up with layers. It's just so beautiful. And I had to use it as an accent nail as well as I'll be using it for some nail art in my plaid because I love putting a little pop of glitter into my plaid designs. So I will build this up with two layers and it's really great coverage. I could even get full coverage probably with a third layer, but I really like the way it looked in two layers. But I could also do like one layer on top of a color and it just make like the color glittery, but it wouldn't hide that base color. That's why I'm saying I really love like the way this glitter looks. So I just want to make sure it's as even as possible. I fully cured my first layer and now I'm going in with layer two. I'm not a huge fan of like true yellow golds. I feel like it doesn't really complement my skin tone really well, but I absolutely love like champagne golds and rose golds. Those are right up my alley. So typically you'll see me wear like silver jewelry or sometimes some rose gold, but I will say, I feel like this glitter would be really great for a New Year's Eve set. Just picture it with like a solid black. They would just look so classy together. But anyway, moving on to my last color. This is R91. Don't be sus. I'm going to be using this from some nail art as well. So I'm going ahead applying it to my palette. This one, it actually looks like a brighter red on me than it kind of looks in the bottle. So in the bottle, it looks a little bit darker, but I feel like once I wore it, it was a little bit of a brighter red. I mean, I don't mind it. I think it's a beautiful color, but I was hoping it was like a little bit deeper. I didn't want like a maroon, like I didn't want it deep, but I do wish it was like a little bit deeper to make it a little more moody and fall, if that makes sense. And this one does have like a little bit of jelliness in the first layer. So I think you can see as I'm applying my first layer, you can still kind of see through the tip, which is what I mean by like that jelliness. But after I applied the second layer, I couldn't really see through. So I did get full opacity. It was just a little bit sheerer in the first layer, which I do find with a lot of reds. Like I feel like it's hard to find a really opaque red in one layer. I feel like a lot of them start with like that jelly kind of quality, and then you can build up the coverage with more layers. I'm just going to finish this up, and then after I'm done with my second layer, I'm going to fully cure it for a full 60 seconds because that's it for all my base colors. So I just want to make sure all my bases are fully cured before I go on top with nail art. There are some additional colors that I'm going to be using for the art for my nails. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply them all to my palette, have them ready to go, and then we'll do some fun plaid, some fun pumpkins, and just have like a fall Thanksgiving type mani. I'm going to be starting with a pumpkin on my ring finger, so I'm using R115 Burning Up. This is such a beautiful orange, so it's a little bit brighter, but it is so glittery, and I don't really think you can tell in the video just how glittery it is, but trust me, it is beautiful. But it does have a little bit of sheerness to it, so I'm going to do some plaid along with the pumpkin, but I was afraid that if I did the plaid first, I wasn't sure whether the orange would cover up the colors of the plaid because I wanted to sit on top of the plaid. So I decided to do the pumpkin first and then do the plaid around it. And that way the pumpkin would look opaque and sit on top of that plaid. So I'm starting with like two humps at the free edge of my nail to kind of shape out that pumpkin, but I will do a little bit of outlining to actually make it look like a pumpkin. Just kind of rounding it out, the general shape of the pumpkin, like the middle where it's kind of indented a little bit is going to be the middle of the pumpkin. I fully cured that for a full 60 seconds, and now I'm going in with a second layer just because I want to build up that opacity. I'm hoping you can see the glitter because it is just so pretty. I'm going to have to use this orange again. I'm not sure why I haven't gotten this in my collection sooner because it is just so beautiful. And I wish I actually had it for Halloween because I feel like it'd be a really great color for Halloween. And because it's a brighter orange, I also think it's a really great summer color too. But anyway, after I finish with my second layer, I'm going to fully cure it for a full 60 seconds because I'm going to do the outline on it. I want to make sure that everything is fully cured before I put more gel on top. So after I fully cure it, I'm going in with a darker brown. This is dark chocolate. This is R99. And then I'm going to, where the two humps are, I'm going to outline it. So I'm starting with the outline and I'm going down the center of the pumpkin, as you can see right here. And then I'm going to outline the rest of the pumpkin on the outside. And then for the other hump, and this is why I did two humps. I probably shouldn't call it humps, but regardless, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing, but I'm going to make the outline in the middle of the pumpkin overlap the first line I did. So you can see it's going, they're kind of overlapping, and then hopefully you can start to see like that pumpkin taking shape. So it's kind of like two half circles meeting, but they're overlapping, if that makes sense. And so after I've got that, I've flash cured it, and now I'm going to work on the plaid. So for the plaid, I'm starting with some lines using R69. This is called Sweet Honey. This is like a tannish brownish color. I'm starting with a thicker line around that cuticle area that's going vertically across, no, not vertically, horizontally across my nail. And then I'm also going to do a second one below that, but above the pumpkin. And so I'm just going to start drawing out lines. I don't really have a good plan for building out the plaid. Plaid's really just like a bunch of lines, and there's intersecting with like vertical and horizontal lines using different colors. So I flash cured those lines, and now I'm doing a vertical line on the left side of my nail, meeting up to that pumpkin. And that's what I mean when I say like the pumpkin sitting on top of the plaid. But you'll see kind of as I'm kind of working out the layers of the color. So this one I'm using R91, which is Don't Be Sus, that red that I have on my pinky. I'm just drawing a thinner line next to that tan line vertically down my nail. So however you want the plaid to look, you just want like, they don't have to be like centered lines. You want them kind of spread out through the nail. You want to bring in different colors, but it's however you want it to look. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the glitter, which is the R128 that's on my middle finger. And in between those lines, I'm going to fill it in because I wanted to bring some glitter into this plaid. I'm also going to bring in some other colors just to make it pop a little bit more. And I think, it's fun to have like colorful plaid. So, you can use any colors you want. You can do more lines. You can do less lines. Just Google plaid or use Pinterest, pull up some plaid, and then you can kind of take inspiration of like different plaid designs. You see what I mean when I say that plaid can be so many different designs, so many different colors. I definitely took inspo from a lot of different places. So the plaid on my ring finger looks different than the plaid on my thumb, but I did want to incorporate those pumpkins just because I loved that orange so much. So the last thing I'm going to do is just a little leafy design on my index finger. So I wanted my lines to stay thin, so I'm going to go ahead and flash cure those lines. So that's going to be the branches from where my leaves are going to be, and they're just going to be really simple leaves. So I'm starting with a dot, and then I'm going to pull it up to a little bit of a tapered point. I'm going to flash cure that, and then on either side of the branch I'm going to do the same thing. I'm not going to make it too busy. I don't want too many leaves, but I do want to kind of fill it up a little bit. So on that one side of the branch, I draw that dot and then I pull it up to a tapered point. And on the other side of that, I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to continue down that branch. I'll do the same thing down for the bottom branch. But then, of course, you know me, I was like, I like this. I really love the way the dark brown looks with the mauve, but anything's better with glitter, right? So of course I had to incorporate that glitter that I've been using, the R128. So after I got the leaves down, I decided to incorporate some glitter. Just I didn't want to fill the whole thing with glitter, but I just did a little bit of outline with the glitter. So in the middle of the branch and then like in the middle of the little leaves, I just incorporated just a little bit of glitter just for that little bit of pop. And I really love the way that turned out. And I felt like it felt very fall. Once I'm done with my nail art and it's all fully cured, I'm going to seal it all in with my No Cleanse Gel Top Coat in the Hema Free formula. The one thing I'll say is the No Cleanse Gel Top Coat regular, that the older one, and then this No Cleanse Gel Top Coat, they're both a thinner formula, which I really enjoy. However, because there is some texture with the nail art, it doesn't fully cover it. So I would say if you don't like texture, you may want a thicker layer of this gel top coat, or you could go in with a layer of builder gel, or actually, now that I think about it, you could probably use the gel extender because it's thicker. Protect your nail art, have it nice and smooth, and then go in with your gel top coat. But I did want to call that out, that because it's thinner, it's going to leave a little bit of texture over your nail art unless you go in with a thicker layer. So I always start by capping my free edge first, then I'll do the surface of my nails. So I did actually end up doing 2 total layers of the gel top coat because I didn't really enjoy that texture as much. I will also say the shine of this Hema Free No Cleanse Gel Top Coat is just as good as the regular No Cleanse Gel Top Coat. So I don't even see any reason to not use this one. And as always, I'm going to finish off my mani by rehydrating my cuticles. I'm using my Scales of a Mermaid Cuticle Balm in the scent Pumpkin Spice It Up. This is a mainline set, and of course, you know I had to run with the pumpkin theme of this mani and pair it up with this scent. I absolutely love it. It's not a super strong pumpkin scent, but it is a subtle pumpkin spice, but it has like mixed in like caramel scents. So it's just a really nice scent. And if you are interested in anything from Scales of a Mermaid, I do have an affiliate code. So you can use code Genie10 to save 10% off your orders. So that pretty much wraps up today's mani. And I have to say, I have been really impressed with these new Pro X liquids. I'm glad there's now a HEMA free option, and hopefully there will be more coming. So a huge thank you to iGel Beauty for sponsoring this video. And for you, I hope this video is helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, I'd appreciate it if you gave this video a thumbs up. It lets me know to continue creating content like this, and it also helps YouTube recommend me to others, which helps grow my channel. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I upload content every Monday and Thursday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.